Okay, let's do this. Hi, welcome back. So, I had an idea like 2 weeks ago to want to post breakdowns of music, specifically Taylor Swift, but there will be other things. Lainey, 21 Pilots especially, as long as other artists, reactions, yada, yada, yada. Whatever I want to do, right? Whatever you guys want to see. We'll play together. But Taylor Swift is going to be a majority of it. I didn't want to do this all on my main Instagram because I want people to actually like converse. So I'm using this second Instagram that I've had forever and trying to start up YouTube content, yada, yada again. Let's get it started. What are we going to do with these album breakdowns? I'm going to do a big video, this one, that's going to give us a breakdown of what was happening before this album came out, what was happening in Taylor's life, going on, you know, in the world, whatever, an intro into the album, right? And then I will post each video. After that will be a breakdown of each song from the album. Funnily enough, I already have breakdown PowerPoints of her first couple albums all the way up until 1989, because my boyfriend wanted to know more about Taylor Swift. So here we are, and now I am making it everyone else's problem. My credentials, ask literally anyone that's ever known me. I'm probably one of the biggest Taylor Swift fans you're ever gonna meet. I'm trying not to be annoying about it, but I do talk about her any chance I can, right? And I love breaking down music and lyrics and why she does things and yada, yada, yada. So I'm gonna make it your problem now, and you are here, so obviously you want to listen, so thanks. What you need to know before we break down The Life of a Showgirl. I would normally start with her first album debut, but The Life of a Showgirl did just come out, and I've seen a lot of things of people not understanding and assumptions about it, and I just want to like break those. So we're going to start with this one, and then I'll start back at the beginning, intermixing other albums and songs and stuff that comes out as well, because Lainey just came out with an album a week after The Life of a Showgirl. Actually, 5 Seconds of Summer is coming out with a new album here soon. So we're going to be mingling stuff in. But Taylor, this is who we're here for. So here are my 3 sections for today's videos. First one is going to be intro, possible Easter eggs, inspo, and the album cover, bundled up in one section. Next is going to be random info, records broken, music nerd stuff right there. And then last one is what's in it, what to expect, and assumptions. Chat for a second. Let's begin. I got my Diet Coke with a fresh lime packet. We're ready to go. For sure, Easter egg. She's confirmed this. The orange door at the Eras Tour. So during the Eras Tour, normally when Taylor would exit, she would go down a lift in the center of the stage. The last night of the Eras Tour, though, which was in Vancouver, Canada, on December 8th of 2024, she went to the back of the stage, very, very back of the stage, to the big screen in the back. And as she's walking back, there was this orange door coming down from the top of that screen, all the way meeting her at the bottom. This is an orange sparkly door. She walked through it, closed it, end of the Eras Tour. Now, we were all clowning. We all thought it was a reference to Karma. We will talk about the Karma album during the Reputation era. Reputation is one of my favorite albums. We will talk about Karma. I'll break it all down. There's a lot of stuff about it. I'll break it down, don't worry. But that's not what this album was, which is okay because I love The Life of a Showgirl. So we're here. We also had this same effect of the orange door coming down from the top of the screen to the bottom when there was a countdown for the episode of New Heights, which is the podcast that I'll talk about here in a bit, where she announced the album. As that door was coming down on the screen, there were 4 more doors added on the, like 2 on each side of that orange door coming in the middle. Turns out those other 4 ones were variants, color variants for this album. Really cool. Next, the I Can Do It With a Broken Heart music video. I don't know if this is fully a everyone thinks this is an Easter egg or if this is just a me thing, but Taylor has always said everything she does is on purpose, so we're gonna dive in. We're gonna clown for a second. During the Eras tour, the setup for the song I Can Do It With a Broken Heart was Taylor being forced and changed into a showgirl to perform the song. The backup dancers even had these big fans that showgirls perform with, like hide and tease and yada yada. So they were doing that and fanning her and making a frame around her, very, very cute 20s showgirl-esque. In the music video for I Can Do It With Broken Heart, it was the behind the scenes of them rehearsing it and yada yada. And in it, those big fans were orange. In the Eras tour, those big fans were white. Orange and green is the 2 main colors of this album, so could be a reference to that because showgirl, she's literally being forced to be a showgirl. This would have been when she would have been writing or finished with the album at this point. We do know that this album was written during the Eras tour. We know that. She said that. She was flying to and from Sweden from wherever she was at in the world making this album, which is crazy. Possible inspo for the album. I don't know if this is a generally liked opinion, but it's mine, so I'm going to share it. In the Bejeweled music video, which again, she did not plan the Life of a Showgirl album during the Midnights era. She didn't. We know that. So I'm not calling it an Easter egg because it's not. It's inspo, I think. In the music video, though, she had Dia Von Teese, which is one of the most famous showgirls in the world, in that music video, and they did a performance in it, and the costuming and everything was very similar to what we ended up having for this album. So I think that could have been inspo for this album. Next, again, not an Easter egg, not really inspo, but just something kind of cool, is the lyric Tradition. I call it Tradition because it's fairly new. And there's not like direct line from line to line. It's just, this is what I noticed. Throwback to the Midnights era, Hits Different song, one of the last songs that came out for Midnights. One of the last lyrics is, or have they come to take me away? To then Fortnight, the first song in the Torture Poets department, the first line is, I was supposed to be sent away, but they forgot to come and get me. Connection? Possibly. Now, from Torture Poets department to the Life of a Showgirl, in Clarabout, the last song on the official album of the Torture Poets department, the last lyric is, the future is bright, dazzling. Dazzling was used for so much promo for the Life of a Showgirl. So much. And even one of her captions was, the future is bright, dazzling. Like, I think she literally used that lyric for a caption on Instagram, or Taylor Nation did. But dazzling was used a lot in the promo. So, cool. Next, the album cover. I love this album cover. I remember when she showed it on the New Heights podcast and pulled out that vinyl, my jaw literally dropped. And I just knew this album was going to be good. It was going to be different. Oh, so good. So good. Okay, this is the album cover. If you haven't seen it, this is the original album cover. This is not a variant. This is the album cover. It was based on the painting of Ophelia by John Everett Millais. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'm so sorry if it's not. It depicts Shakespearean character Ophelia from his play Hamlet, singing before drowning herself in a river. which Taylor shared on the New Heights podcast. On the cover, she is in a bathtub after a show, which is something she told us she would do after every show. We have now since learned, I'm glad I filmed this later, she was signing the CDs for this album, because there's hand-signed CDs that you can get, and then taking a bath after every Eras tour. So I just thought that was really cool. And there's a lot more connections with Ophelia and Showgirl and yada yada with this album. But that's where the inspo came from for the album, is the painting Ophelia, which we will get into more of Ophelia during the song The Fate of Ophelia. So the next video, we will talk more about that. This is just a mismatch of whatever. Where did we first hear about this album? It was on the New Heights podcast, hosted by Travis and Jason Kelsey. Travis, if you don't somehow know, is Taylor Swift's then boyfriend, now fiance. Taylor and Travis, as we found out later, actually got engaged right after they finished filming the podcast episode. And Taylor's got a whole cute story about that on I think it was Jimmy Fallon is where she talked about that on. Where she sat down and talked to us for 2 hours straight, which she hasn't really ever done before. She's done short interviews. She's gone on Jimmy Fallon a lot. She's never done a podcast before. So this is really different. This is really, really cool thing. And normally when she announces an album, it's at the Eras tour real quick, or during an award show, or just an Instagram drop. She hasn't really been able to sit and talk when she announces an album. So this was a really, really cool experience as someone who's been a Swiftie for pretty much my entire life. On the podcast, she also told us that this album is a peek behind the curtain of her life on the Eras tour specifically. In another interview, she talked about how this album has been so different and fun from her others. When she normally puts out an album, she's in a completely different stage of her life, and she's healed through everything she's talked about on her album, or life is just different. She's possibly in a new relationship from when she wrote it. In this one, though, she says her life is exactly the same, except for obviously she's not doing the Eras tour every night. But she's still in this happy, loving, now even better relationship, engagement now. So it's fun to see her promoting this album and just feeling like she loves it a little bit more because she's still in that mindset. So that's been a really cool experience that we've never really seen that from Taylor before. Next, who produced this album? Okay, this was crazy when we heard who was producing this album. This album is produced by Max Martin and Shellback, who she worked on Red 1989 and Reputation with. So this is crazy. It's definitely different than the last two albums, who she has produced with Jack Antonoff and Aaron Dessner. They've done a lot of the last few albums. They did Folklore, Evermore, Midnight's Torture Poets Department. Jack, I know, helped with Reputation too, and Lover, I believe they both helped work on as well. So this was definitely a fun, like, blast from the past, if you want to say, that we got these producers on this album. A lot of fans are really happy about that. Next, I'm just gonna speed run through some awards that she's won with this album so far. As of me filming this, what's today? Today is the 18th of October. So this album's been out 2 weeks. It came out October 3rd. You do the math. I don't know. I'm not good at math. It set the record for #1 most albums by a solo artist. It extends Swift's record as the female artist with most #1 albums in Billboard 200 history. Streak continues of 11 consecutive studio albums debuting at #1 since beginning with Fearless in 2008. First album in history with every song appearing uninterrupted from #1 through 12 on the Billboard Hot. I don't know if it's 100 or 200. Most vinyl sales week in Nielsen history, surpassing 1 million units sold. The first album to ever achieve this milestone. The Fate of Ophelia set a record for the most daily and weekly streams of any song in Spotify history. The album achieved the largest standard edition debut in Spotify history with 250 million streams. Swift now holds the top 19 biggest song debuts and the top 4 biggest album debuts in Spotify history. The Fate of Ophelia also became the fastest song to surpass 100 million streams. Swift is now the only artist to simultaneously hold the Spotify's top single day and weekly records across the song, album, and artist categories. Taylor Swift holds the top biggest 4 album debuts in Spotify history. Opalite is the fastest non-single to reach 100 million streams in Spotify history. The Life of a Showgirl posted the largest iTunes and Apple Music debuts of 2025. The Fate of Ophelia posted the largest Apple Music debut of 2025. The album achieved the largest debut in Amazon Music history. I could go on. But most number 1 albums on Billboard 200 among any soloist. 15th number 1 album on Billboard 200, breaking out of a tie with Drake and Jay-Z. Only the Beatles have more with 19 albums. Biggest debut of the modern era, that's 1991 to present in music history, shattering records for both single week sales and equivalent album units, like albums actually being sold, physical copies, as well as streams. Every single one of its 12 songs lands in the top 12 of the Billboard Hot 100. It is 100. Something no artist has ever achieved before. Largest sales week of any album in US music history. And then Taylor Swift's The Life of a Showgirl album makes history by selling 4 million copies in the first week. This is crazy because been in this album or this fandom for a really long time. Seeing her break more and more records with every single album. I remember when Tortured Poets Department came out and Midnights, and everyone was like, there's no way that she can beat this record. And same with Red, when Red, Taylor's version, came out. Everyone thinking, there's no way she can keep... And she just keeps beating herself and records and other people, and it's crazy. Anyways, it's really cool to see as a fan who's been around for so long, and she just keeps doing her best. Last section. Almost the entire album is what we as Swifties call a glitter pen album. We say she has 2 different types of songs. She has Glitter Pen, which is happier, more bubbly, and doesn't seem as like we need a dictionary for a lot of these words, where when she uses a quill, a feather quill, those are we need a dictionary songs. She's using big words and it's like really complicated, but still good. Glitter Pen songs are still so good, but they're less brain work to try and like fully understand and deep dive, but they're still just as good. I mean, obviously, look, this whole album is a glitter pen. It's a glitter pen album, honestly, which we've never really had before. That's been really fun to just on a first listen be able to pretty much understand every song and not have to do too much deep diving. But don't worry, we are still doing deep diving. That's what I'm here for. Characters from this album. Yes, there are still characters. She's been using a lot of characters in her last few albums, starting in Folklore. Again, we'll break that down when we get to Folklore, though. So the characters in this album. Ophelia. We talked about Ophelia a little bit before. Character from Shakespeare's play Hamlet, known for her descent into madness and eventual drowning herself after Hamlet rejects her and murders her father. Her story has become a symbol of innocence corrupted by the harsh realities of the world and the fragility of the female spirit. We'll break that down in the next song, in the next video more. Next is Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was one of the most successful actresses of all time. She was the showgirl in the 1940s through the 1960s was like her peak. But even up until she died in 2011, she did amazing things. Taylor says in the track by track not in a literal sense as much. She was under a microscope, so intense, and she handled it with humor, and she got along with her life. Her whole life was scrutinized, and very publicly at that, for everything she did. But she kept making art, winning awards, no matter the criticisms she was receiving. She, very similarly to Taylor, was also called a serial dater. Again, we'll break that down when we talk about the song Elizabeth Taylor. Next, and this one's so fun, is Kitty Finley. You're like, Kylie, I've listened to the album. Who's Kitty Finley? Kitty Finley. Her last name is not said in the song, but Taylor talked about it in an interview, and in the track by track. So I'm saying it here. Kitty Finley is the showgirl in the song The Life of a Showgirl, kind of voiced by Sabrina Carpenter. Kitty is Andrea Swift's, Taylor Swift's mom. Her Great Dane's name is Kitty, and I love that. And Finley is Taylor's grandma, Marjorie's last name. You might recognize the name Marjorie. Marjorie is a song in the Evermore era. So her name was Marjorie Finley. So her name of the showgirl in this is Kitty Finley. Kind of cool. Okay, let's get into some assumptions. What some people said is, I'm lost on a couple of songs. Don't worry, girl. We're gonna break them down. I got you. Another assumption that I saw was, I love it and it speaks to me where I am in life. Love her peak behind her Eras Tour show. Which now we've learned again. I'm glad that I'm filming this a little bit later. We are actually getting a 6-part docuseries about the Eras Tour. That is gonna be really, really exciting. We're gonna be breaking down this album and it's gonna be a lot of fun. If there's anything else that you guys want to know about before we start breaking stuff down, or your thoughts about stuff, leave them in the comments below. DM me, however you want to text me, whatever you want to do. The next video will be a breakdown on the Fate of Ophelia, which we will also break down the music video a little bit too. That's the only one right now with a music video. Tell me what you think about the Fate of Ophelia. Do you love it? Are you kind of like, whatever? Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts about this album so far, if you've listened to it, or if you haven't, and you've been waiting. What do you think? Do you think you're gonna like it? That is all for this video. Thank you so much for all of your guys' love and support and interest, I guess, in something that I love so much, and that I don't just have to that I don't just have to talk to my boyfriend about. And then I can talk to other people and discuss with other people about it. Not that I don't love talking to my boyfriend about it. I love talking to my boyfriend about it because he is actually interested in everything, but it's nice to have discussions with other people. There we go. Some that maybe know more or are wanting to learn more. So this will be your kind of 101 guide into Taylor Swift. I'm really excited. Thank you guys so much. I love you all. Bye.